Good morning. This is the Blaine's World podcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And you get more information about the show by going to our website, www.blainesworld.net, where you can also listen to previous shows. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. And each week we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And to that end, it's my pleasure to introduce my guests today, and they are Adrian and Matt Blanks, singers and performers, who will be appearing April 15th in the cabaret show Remembering Sondheim at the White Horse in Black Mountain. And guys, you can feel free to wave to all your fans and friends who might be watching this. So if they're watching, this is Matt and Adrian. And I should tell you that Adrian Blanks is a singer and songwriter in Asheville. She's played with her band Adrian Blanks and the Oracles throughout the region, Chicago, and other states. Matt Blanks teaches voice at Mars Hill University and is the voice area coordinator. He directs music for Etowah United Methodist Church and runs Soaring Sounds Voice Studio. He is also an actor performing at Regional Community Theater. And I have to say, I've had the pleasure of seeing both of you perform. I guess where was that at where was it? I saw you perform at Heart. Did a review, and I just loved it. And the incredible thing is, you're doing that review again this coming Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the same review. And talk a little bit. What's that review all about, Adrian?
Oh, okay. So the Remembering Sondheim concert, as you know, we lost Stephen Sondheim in the last year, and it's a year now, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a year.
And so we've been putting on this tribute concert to his music, and it's a really great blend of talents because there are a certain number of us in the area, in Western North Carolina area, that are classically trained. And so Mandy and her husband Luke have kind of gathered us up and got us doing this Sondheim review, which is great because Sondheim is great crossover music that sort of lives in between music theater and classical. So we have an incredible cast of performers putting on this musical theater music.
Yeah, a whole lot of different vocal styles too.
And if you can, both give kind of a shout out to the other performers in that review with you.
Yes, absolutely. So we have Matt Edwardson, who's a real standout, and he's going to be performing a bunch with Heart this summer. And he is singing Being Alive. I would definitely say that's the 11 o'clock number on the show.
Agreed.
And well, we have Matt right here who is singing a number of songs. We're doing a duet together from Passion. You get to do all of that glorious music from Sunday in the Park with George.
Yeah, I got some Sunday in the Park with George excerpts.
We have Dominic Aquino.
Yeah.
I've never said anybody's.
Dominic Michael Aquilino.
I've
That's
never
how he
said
likes
anybody's
his
last
bio.
names out loud.
Yeah.
You got it though. That's great.
Yeah, and Dominic is definitely a fixture in Western North Carolina. He's been here a while, and he's worked with a lot of theater companies, taught at a lot of the local universities as well. He used to be at Mars Hill, and now he's currently at Western Carolina.
And so it's what, 5 people in the review? Was that everybody?
6 of us, yeah. So then there's also Laura Holloway.
Oh yeah.
So it's just comedy gold. She's such a great performer.
Yeah, she had an online series about tap dancing, actually, I think, during the pandemic. She's also a fixture in the local theater scene.
Yeah, and then Mandy Volrath is the one who put the whole thing together. And she used to do the admin for Asheville Opera, which is now defunct. And so she's been looking to gather up the classical singers in the area and have them start to put more classical music in venues, or classical vocal music in venues.
If we can give a shout out also, at least the show I saw, you had, which is kind of unusual, but you had 2 different keyboardists. Do you still have it for this show?
Yes. So do you want to talk about
Yeah. So Mandy's husband Luke, I actually got to meet him when I was working at Mars Hill as an adjunct. They hired him as well, and then Montreat College hired him as a professor, so he doesn't work at Mars Hill anymore. He's great. He can kind of play anything. He's a fantastic pianist. We did a recital where he played some Liszt pieces that I'm not sure many other people in the area could play. And then Leo What's his full name?
Leonidas.
Leonidas Lagrimas. He is a transplant from upstate New York, lives in Silva, North Carolina, and works at Western Carolina University. And he has just great style, great clarity to his playing. He also can play anything. He's an amazing pianist and just the nicest person you'll ever meet.
And to credit for all you folks, I really appreciate the fact that you're bringing live music, and I just want to get your quick reaction to that. We won't get into a whole thing on that, but I don't know about you folks, but I love live music. No offense to tracks, and so here it's so exciting. You got to see, people singing to real music, and it's a shame because they're seeing less and less of it in theater. I think I don't know if you notice that, but it's a shame. I think so. If you want to see live music, come to this review. And the review date again is what?
It's April 15th. It's the Saturday at 7:30 p.m. at White Horse Black Mountain.
Okay, just a great venue for seeing stuff performed. So you're in for a treat. And like I said, I've seen this review once, and it's absolutely brilliant. But let me ask you, going back a little bit, in terms of your beginnings, Adrian, how long have you been singing? When did you start?
So my grandparents like to say that I started singing before I could talk. And when I saw Annie when I was 5, I just thought, oh, this is it. I've got to do this. So, I started taking dance classes as a little tot, and I thought I was going to do music theater all through high school. And then I got to my senior year of high school, and my voice teacher, this is in the Chicago area, just happened to own her own opera company. And so she would just stick me in the chorus, and I would get to sing with all these professional opera singers. And I knew that I had a penchant for language. And I was taking Italian and I was taking Spanish at the time. And I thought, wow, I really like language. I really like foreign language. And I think this is probably the direction for me. So I started studying opera. I went to Boston Conservatory for my undergrad. And I went to Roosevelt College of Performing Arts in Chicago for my master's. I did both my degrees in vocal performance. As soon as I graduated, I started teaching. I've been teaching this whole time. I teach private voice lessons and beginner and intermediate piano, and also pursued a regional opera career. And we both performed with a number of regional opera companies.
I should ask you, did you ever get to perform Annie?
I did. I was a runaway orphan, and I had the very fabulous spotlight moment of getting to be turned around in Miss Hannigan's song, and they showed my bloomers. I was 5 to the audience and spanked me.
I should I should ask you, was that your very first role, or do you remember your first role?
My very first role, I was a frog in a little Under the Sea, a Little Mermaid story. I think I was 4.
Okay, and you were singing in that too?
Yeah.
Now, the question is, I had this great idea, guys, for a fundraiser for
Okay.
either Hot or you name it, or Mars Hill, but I'd like everybody to recreate their very first role. In other
Oh
words,
my
as a frog, do you have a videotape of that somewhere?
We probably do. There's a number of videos from little sing-alongs from when I was little, and like I had this habit of like touching my skirt. I kept like lifting it up, and you can hear on the video they go, "Adrian, skirt down."
Right. But wouldn't that be great though if you got to recreate your first role so then you could have it forever, people could see it. That's just my crazy idea for a fundraiser. And I ask Matt the same kind of question. You began singing when?
Well, I began singing in choirs in fourth grade, and the reason I did it, no, I'm sorry, it was fifth grade, is because in fourth grade people went off to choir, and I was one of the 3 people left in the classroom. I just wanted to be with my friends in fifth grade. But then one day, early that year, the teacher announced that there would be auditions for honor chorus. And I was like, well, why not? And so I came in and sang for her for 5 minutes. And I was the alternate, but I had a friend that couldn't do it because of Hebrew school. And then I ended up doing honors chorus, and I kind of fell in love with singing and music. I played piano before that. That's kind of how I got my sense of pitch. But that was my first time singing was in that fifth grade class.
After that, did you do any shows?
Oh, my first musical was The Wizard of Oz. It was when I was in middle school in sixth grade, and I was one of the lollipop kids.
Okay, same thing. Do you remember your role?
Oh, I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you to sing it now, but
Oh my gosh. Well,
but
it was a little
lolly.
higher, but we represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild.
You got it. And we're recording this, so you'll be able to have that forever. People can see you sing that song. But you got through that, then the Lollipop Kid, and you continued performing after that.
Yes, yeah. I was mainly in like school productions. I was a little bit of a shy kid, and then I saw an opera my senior year of high school, and that just made me go, how can I do this? And I took voice lessons, and I applied to colleges, and I got a degree in voice performance, and then another in voice performance, and then here I am.
Okay, well, very glad you are. And toward that end, I'll ask you both to talk a little bit about the other work you do. So aside from singing the Sondheim stuff, Adrian, you've told me you also are a songwriter, and you've written how many songs about?
Somewhere between 20 and it's probably closer to 30 now.
What got you into songwriting?
The pandemic, there, there wasn't any performing to do, and we suddenly had all this time on our hands. And we had just like said forever that we were going to start having band practice. Like, we didn't know what that was, we just wrote it on
Right.
And then the pandemic happened, and we were sitting at home on weeknights, which was totally new to us. We were running around like crazy for years. And so we did. We just started, singing Disney songs and through our little songbooks. I would play ukulele, and Matt plays piano. And then I just kind of fell on a chord progression I really liked. And then I was looking through some old journals from when we first met 12 years ago. And our anniversary was coming up, and I thought something really special would be like for me to read to Matt from my journal from when we first met, because he'd never heard it before. And I look, and there's this line, and it says, "Tell me you love me, and I'll say it back." And I went, "Oh my God, that fits with that exact chord progression I've been working on." And so that became the first song, just "Tell Me You Love Me," and that's on Spotify and all the places.
Well, let me ask you then, since you're there and it looks like you're ready to sing a song or two, um, why don't you introduce one song you're going to sing for us, if you would, please.
Yeah. Okay. So this song is called "Bloom Where You're Planted." It's probably the fifth song that I wrote, and it's a positive song. It's definitely a pandemic song. It was written during the pandemic, and it shows you that when you think you're having a hard time, if you zoom out, a lot of times you'll see how much you've grown and how good things actually are. So this is called "Bloom Where You're Planted."
Bloom where you're planted, I came to know. Though life is short, you're made to grow. When times seem hard, take a bird's eye view. You'll see how much your garden grew.
I've been wandering for such a long while. With each step, it just got hard to rise. Going nowhere, I was afraid to walk the tracks. If I hung up my head, I was giving up knowing from where you planted. I came to know, though life is short, you're made to grow. When times seem hard, take a bird's eye view. You'll see how much your garden grew. Few years passed, and I was back in school. Traded my world for this new avenue. Couldn't find my place in that living museum, but I found I loved the freedom of a well-worn page. From where you're planted, I came to know, though life is short, you're made to grow. When times seem hard, take a bird's eye view. You'll see how much your garden grew. leaps of faith turn into a giant staircase. Above the treetops, things are clear. When I look down, I see I was always free. From where it planted, I came to know, though life is short, you're made to grow. When times seem hard, take a bird's eye view. You'll see how much your garden grew.
Love it. But we should mention one thing, that you will not be singing this at the upcoming show. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Very, very different music.
Well, let me ask you too, in terms of music, do you still sing opera at all, or either of you?
I can be coaxed. These days I feel like it's my secret party trick. And if any of my voice students decide they want to learn it, then we go there for sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like something I keep in my back pocket, and you can hear glimmers of it on the Sondheim concert.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd say I definitely sing operatically. I don't think I've been in an opera since before the pandemic. But I'd gladly do it again someday. I think the circumstances just have to be right. I'm doing it for me now. I'm doing it on my terms. When I was younger, I just kind of went where the work was.
Your experience, Matt, is not dissimilar to mine. That when I was a kid, my mother dragged me to the Metropolitan Opera, and she really did. I don't know how old. And I remember spent the whole afternoon reading the story of it, and because you remember you didn't have subtitles then or super titles, whatever. And she had to tell me the whole story. And I said, boy, I wouldn't like that at all, but I loved it, and so once you see it, and I think a lot of people have to give it a shot, I think they'll enjoy it. It's just an incredible story. Apropos of that, I'll ask Adrian, I'll ask you, Matt. How many languages do you speak?
Well, fluently, just the one, but I speak French pretty well. French is so hard to actually understand, though, when you hear a native speaker.
Yeah, I agree. We were in France last year, and it was an experience. I don't have as much experience with French, so for me that was a challenge. I have a little more experience with German and the most with Italian, but I would not say I'm fluent. I would definitely not say I'm fluent. I'd say when I'm around Italian speakers, it gets better to the point where I can communicate pretty well. But it's something that comes and goes. The vocabulary does not stick with me.
I
That's
was,
interesting.
yeah,
Like, I've had over 7 years of French lessons, and I only had, 2 of Italian, and I can still understand Italian better.
I always wondered, is that hard for a singer, though, to be singing in another language and they don't know the language? Is that difficult to
Oh,
learn?
it's on you, the singer, to make sure you know your translations.
hmm
And we also learn the International Phonetic Alphabet in our training, so we can pronounce anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a course I teach at Mars Hill, actually, is lyric diction, and it teaches you how to pronounce the languages. And you even learn a little bit about verb forms because you have to, because the pronunciation is different sometimes for them. You learn a bit about the language. You don't actually learn to speak it, and then knowing your translation, knowing what you're saying, and actually communicating when you're singing is, I feel like that's almost a separate skill from knowing how to pronounce the language.
I was going to ask you that. So, is that something you recommend to your students, that if they're singing something, it'd be a good idea to learn what they're singing?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think you need to know not only the meaning of it, but you don't need to know just the dictionary meaning. You need to know the connotation. You need to know the context. You need to know why they're singing it because that's usually what brings the fire and the passion out. That's usually the reason for the song. I find that goes over a lot better than just knowing, oh, this song is about love. Well, yeah, but this person is singing this song because they don't want the other person to leave the room because they cheated. Like making it very specific, and then suddenly it becomes communication, not just pretty notes.
And I'll ask you both a question having to do with music you sing. Do you prefer singing, I guess, your original music, covers, show tunes? Do you have a preference as to what you like singing?
I would say these days I like to get my original music on its feet the most, and it's the most thrilling. People always tell me like I come alive the most too when I'm singing my songs. And I think it's because there's no precedent for it. So it's like you're not living in the shadow of anybody, you know? You're not like, oh, well, Bernadette Peters sang. We have to live up to her.
Well, you're giving some good advice to folks, and I'd like you to just comment on that as well about if somebody's going to sing at a performance or a show, good or bad idea to see how other people did it.
Oh, this is so interesting. We've been talking about this so
Mhm.
much lately because both of us in our classical training were taught never to listen to recordings,
Mhm.
especially not in the learning process. Sometimes it's not right. Sometimes the pronunciation's right. Sometimes the counting's not right. So, and also, you really want to make something your own, which is probably more what you're getting at. So we've been just trying to figure out like what is the marriage when you're crossing into other styles. And I feel that you need to have learned the piece really well. Once you've got it close to memorize, then hop on YouTube and start seeing how other people did it for
Mhm.
ideas.
Definitely. Well, and there are styles of music that are completely oral styles. So to learn a song, you would have to listen to it. But there's no reason you couldn't take a look at the lyrics and then figure out what you might think about them and then listen to the song, So take as much material as you have and make a decision before you hear someone else perform it. And then it becomes more your own than if you're channeling someone else.
Yeah,
Because
you don't want to make choices just because it was on the recording.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard actors tell me the same thing too, that they won't even watch a performance until after their run, because it would influence, I guess, how you're going to sing. And to that end, it's kind of a perfect segue to a second song. If you'd introduce it, Adrian.
Sure. Okay, so this is a song called One Too Many Times. And I guess it's one of our newer songs. We haven't recorded this one. And it's kind of cheeky. So it's going to sound very John Prine esque. But yeah, if you find yourself giggling at it, that's totally okay.
I'll just preface it by saying the song is not about me.
That's very important.
Okay.
All right, this is One Too Many Times. Soft static in a silent room. It seems the radio's run out of tunes. They don't make 'em like they used to, and we've run out of love to. Paint paling on a picket fence, crumple slowly like a couple of cents. No rain left for the dew, and we run out of love too. You forgot my birthday one too many times. You forgot to pay the bills one too many times. You forgot to come home, baby, one too many times. We got married once, but it was one too many times. Feels the same. Who could tell the river from a drop of rain? Don't stay to look like a fool. I stay 'cause I love you. Empty bottles on a shelf of regret keep me from wishing that we never met. They can't hold me like they used to, and we're run out of love too. You forgot my birthday one too many times. You forgot to pay the bills one too many times. You forgot to come home, baby, one too many times. We got married once, but it was one too many times. Yeah. We we got married once, but it was one too many times.
Love it. The that one you said people can't get hold of. If people do want to see or catch some of your songs, what's the best way to find them?
So my music's on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere that you stream music, YouTube. I do actually have a couple music videos as well. So Blueberry Planted has a music video. I like to call it a love letter to Western North Carolina because Matt and I had the best time going all around Asheville to Biltmore to the to the Arboretum and just catching the flowers. It was about this time of year, and every week we were going to get more and more film footage of the flowers blooming, and so that's available on YouTube. If you look up my YouTube channel,
And to look up, what would they look up?
it's I think it's Adrian Blank's music. If you Google me, you'll find my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
But I know you're gonna link it in the show notes later.
Okay, but that was just a great. I love that last song. How is it performing the two of you together? How long have you been singing together?
Oh man, you're asking me to answer this one?
Either one.
Yeah, well, I mean, since we met singing together actually in an opera. So we've been singing together the entire time we've been together. But I guess when Adrian started writing, during the pandemic is when we first started singing original music together. So it's only been a couple of years at this point, maybe 2.5.
We did do music for a burlesque show, and
That's
that is
right.
kind of the catalyst
Hmm.
for us writing band practice on a post-it note because our friends were putting on this 90s themed burlesque show, and we said, hey, why don't you let us do the in-between music, while you're changing between scenes? And we did, theme song from Clarissa Explains It All. We did a song from Anastasia. Do you remember we did the DuckTales theme song? And
Hmm.
we were like, we never done this together before. We might need to play some more music together.
Hmm.
Now, if I were in a car with you, and you're driving, do you folks sing in the car?
I do.
You do, yeah.
Do you sing in the car?
I don't think I do absentmindedly. Usually, to be honest, in the car, I'm usually trying to prepare for something. So I'll usually put on recording of me playing accompaniment, and I'll try to remember the words and things like that. I know it's ridiculous.
How about in the shower?
Oh, not in the shower, no.
No, not sing in the shower. Let me ask you this question, and both of you teachers can reference it as well. How easy is it to remember music to a song? And do you have any techniques for doing that, making it easier for folks?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, do
You
we?
have the best process.
Yeah, so I mean, my process involves just speaking the words a bunch to get your mouth around the words, then speaking them in rhythm. And then finally, when you feel really comfortable with that, you don't have to think about it so much, then adding in the pitches. And don't focus on, more than like 30 seconds of the song. And so you really focus on 30 seconds of the song and then stop. And then the magic happens and it just becomes a part of you. And it's like if you do that like 5 days in a row with different 30-second sections of a song, you'll have 2.5 minutes of a song memorized in a week. Whereas otherwise you'll sit there and you'll go through the whole song. Oh, I kind of know how it goes, but then as soon as there's not lyrics in front of you or sheet music in front of you, you'll forget, and it'll be hard to figure out what's what because it hasn't become a part of you yet.
Supposedly, it's easier to memorize songs than to memorize dialogue. Is that true?
Oh
For me, for
yes,
sure.
yes,
Yeah.
100% because you have pitches and rhythms and you have a whole framework and you know exactly where to come in and it's more precise and remembering all the elements that make it precise is way easier than remembering just words.
I
How about
guess
yeah?
like the dialogue, if you have dialogue, then you're writing music because
Hmm.
you're writing the rhythm.
Yes.
How about when you were kids? Did you ever also write songs to memorize multiplication tables or other things in school? Have you ever heard the capitals? There's
Oh
a
yeah,
song.
I love Schoolhouse Rock. I think I still have the preamble memorized.
And Adrian, let me ask you, in the remaining time, I don't mean to press you on this, but could I ask you to do one more song? And so, like I said, that last one just blew me away. I'll give you a third chance here.
Okay, so we're gonna do one more song, also an original, also not recorded yet, completely different style.
Mhm.
And this one's a little New Orleans, it's a little spooky, and it's about a murderess named Sugar. On a small road off of Oak Street in 1888 worked a buxom woman named Sugar who could always tell your fate. Her shop was lined in fabrics of different jewel-toned hues. She had herbs and rare elixirs. Her crystal ball looked like the moon. Sugar loved theatrics. She could put on quite a show. For any problems, doubts, or queries, just ask Sugar, she would know. Sugar loved her life immensely. She made her rent just fine. But she had a thirst for money. She wanted life to be divine. One day at her shop, a big man blustered in. She was reading for herself, but he had questions there and then. The man was taken with the room, but even more with her. Between her plunging V, stiletto nails, and wavy long blonde hair. Startled by the death card from her reading just before. That's not for you, she chuckled as it tumbled to the floor. On his hand she noted no ring, which meant no spouse. He went to pay her, but she said first time's on the house. He asked her to dinner Friday after next. The two of them would supper at his hotel, Lock and Gas. It wasn't long before these two were thick as thieves. She advised him in his business, and they weren't strangers in the sheets. But the coming weeks brought jitters. Sugar couldn't be a wife. She panicked at the thought of a domesticated life. She thought of her mama and how her daddy did them wrong. So she would let the devil's trumpet sing its own destructive song. Remember, Sugar loved theatrics, and any stage would do. She gave his drink a little Jimson weed and waited for her cue. The man, he doubled over at his own hotel event. Sugar cried, my betrothed, his time on earth was spent. Sugar waited for her ransom. She took one day to grieve. Now the hotel was her business, thanks to a little Jimson weed. But Sugar blew through money on the latest fashion trends. Time to take another man and help him meet his end. She met a banker in Chicago and kept the scheme up 4 more times. After her fifth fiance, she was satisfied. Sugar retired from her life of poisoning men, but you never know when Sugar will take another victim again.
Wow. I have to say, listen to that. Two thoughts come to mind. Some good and bad news. Okay. The good news is that I don't know if folks can hear it, but my throat's a little froggy, and so you don't hear me singing along. And plus, I don't know the music anyway, so that was the good news. The bad news, though, I'm listening to this, Adrian, and I'm saying, wow, this is a show. Are we going to, is this the introduction to a show about this character? Are we going to have more about her?
Ooh, okay. So that's what Matt and I are working on next. Is actually we're working on a whole album, and it's a lot of songs like Sugar. We've got a little kitty cat named Midnight. We're singing a song about a club in the village in 1958 called the Zodiac. So this is where we're going next. Is this style? But you caught me. My long term goal in life is that I really want to write musicals.
Because I could see this would be a great show, the whole background of this woman and the cat. Do you guys own a cat? Is that why you have a cat?
Yeah, we have the
Okay.
sweetest little man. His name's Apollo. He's 19.
Okay. But we don't have a song about Apollo yet. We'll okay. But I'm saying, I encourage you that what a great song and what a great idea for a show. And, it just seems to be a natural progression. I want to know more about this woman, so thank you for sharing that. I was just loved it. So to recap a little bit, folks, if they want to see you and Matt, plus a whole bunch of other great performers, best bet is to come to White Horse Black Mountain. Repeat the information on that.
Yeah, so it's Saturday night, April 15th at 7:30 p.m. at White Horse Black Mountain. We'll be performing the Remembering Sondheim, the Sondheim Review with the most fabulous classically trained singers in Western North Carolina. And I do also want to put a plug out there that a few weeks after that, Matt and I are headlining a small music festival at Etowah United Methodist Church, and they're actually naming it after my song, Bloom Where You're Planted.
Oh, really? Too cool. When is that?
That's going to be on April 29th.
Yeah, Saturday, April 29th from 2 to 5 p.m. We go on about 4:15.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if you can, guys, you might have seen it on Facebook. I have this entertainment page, so please put it up on that as well. And then I post it in my blog, so I'd love to share that information as well. And then specifically, if folks want to get in touch with either of you too, specifically for music lessons or other reasons, they can do that. Best bet is to reach you how?
You can go first.
Well, I can go first. Probably through my website. It's just Matt Blanks. Matt Blanks. I think mattblanks.com, and it's slash like on universe or something like that. But if you look up mattblanks.com, it's the first thing.
Okay, and that's with one or two T's.
That's with two T's. You could also look up my studio name, Soaring Sounds Studio, SOARING Sounds. And I have a Google profile and everything. So.
And thank you for mentioning that too, because I mentioned in the introduction, you have a studio as well. Talk a little bit about that, Matt.
Well, in the summers I don't have any Mars Hill students, and right now I'm totally slammed with everything going on at the university and at my other job, and I started a music directing gig. But during the summer I'm pretty open, and I'm very happy to take on students. I love teaching voice. It's truly a passion of mine, and I feel like I almost can't get enough of it. So I'm always very happy to work with people on their voices. I also teach playing piano by ear, and it's not something a lot of people jump into doing. I think people are kind of timid about it, but I feel like it's not something that's taught very much.
And you mentioned a studio. Do you have an option if people want to record? Could they record with you, or do you have a place they could record at?
Yeah, actually, in this room right here, we got some soundproofing stuff on the wall that you can't see right now, and I have a couple of bass traps we put in corners and stuff like that. And, got a good mic system, so we're happy to help people record. I do most of my recording on Logic. It's the digital audio workstation I use the most, but I know everyone has their own things with recording.
So folks want to contact you for that purpose as well. mattblanks.com, was that it?
Yeah, just look up mattblanks.com. It'll come up.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say for Matt really quick that if you want to take voice lessons or piano lessons with Matt, he has all of that available on his website, and it's easy to access. But he also has a number of videos on YouTube about learning how to sing, so you can check those out as well if you just Google Soaring Sound Studio.
Okay. And same question for Adrian. If folks want to get in touch with you or follow you, what's the best bet?
Sure. I'm very on Instagram, and my handle is at Adrian Blanks. I also have a songwriter profile on Facebook, so that's if you go to facebook.com/Adrian Blanks Music, that's my singer-songwriter page. If you hit like on it, I will super appreciate it. if you subscribe to my YouTube page, I will also very much appreciate that. Again, if you just Google Adrian Blanks, all of this will come up. I have it all on my website. If you Google my name, that's the first thing that'll come up. Is my website has links to all the places where you can listen to music, check out my music videos, and we're available for booking too for our band. We are going to be playing the La Via Jose Wine and Arts Festival this summer in Flat Rock, which we're really looking forward to. We have a four-piece band, and we're available for everything: bars, wineries, arboretums, private parties, you name it.
And the name of the band is what?
Adrian Blanks and the Oracles.
Okay, love it. Anyway, thanks, guys. This was really a lot of fun, and I appreciate that you sang for us as well. And hopefully, I'll be bumping into you sometime in the near future.
Thank you
So,
so much.
okay, thank you for joining me. I'd also like to thank my producer, Cappy Tassetti. Hope to see you sometime in the future at the Blaine's World podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it, you can find us. Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon.
Bye. Thanks again.